Most coaches try to scale the wrong way, and today we're going to unravel the dark side of the coaching industry, what most people get wrong, what they do differently that keeps them stuck, and what you need to do differently to get unstuck, to break out of the plateau and actually scale. So my name is Jeremy. Scaled my online coaching business from 0 to 200K a month in my first 8 months, and I've helped hundreds of online coaches sell tens of millions of dollars. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, Mr. Dawson. He is a client success manager for Summit Scale, and he works very intimately with all of our clients as well, helping them absolutely explode their businesses. And so we both have a lot of combined experience on the front end and the back end, and working with a ton of clients, seeing what works, what doesn't. And in this video, we're going to talk about exactly that. So Dawson, welcome to the channel, man. I'm excited for this one.
Dude, hyped to be here.
Yeah.
First time on a pod too. Whoa.
Let's go. Yeah, man. I'm curious, what do you see most people do wrong that keeps them stuck? Because there's a lot of people that do a lot of inputs, but they don't get much out.
That's a loaded question right there for sure. I guess on a higher level, the one thing that I consistently see coming up, I guess, is when it's not a matter of what gets people stuck, it's when they do get stuck, because everyone's bound to get stuck on all different things, right? But it's the people that sit there banging their head against the wall, continuously trying to go in the same direction over and over, even though they know it didn't work, right? What they were doing is not working, and yet they still continue to drive down that path. And I think as a founder and entrepreneur, it's you have to be in the right mindset to try something and not get attached to it, allowing you, if it doesn't work, to step back and go the other route, right? And like I said, I think a lot of people, they get so attached to the specific input, whether that's like how they want to generate clients or client success or anything like that, and they go down that route and they're so attached, they're just banging their head against the wall regardless of if it's working or not.
And that's one of the most difficult things of running an online coaching business, or any business in general, is just like knowing, when do I just have to keep pushing forward and break through this wall, or when do I let go and do something differently and change my approach? And I think it really comes down to like a function of leverage, because if you keep doing things that like are just kind of like one input to get one output, then you're going to kind of just have like linear growth, but then it's going to flatline because you can't keep doing more inputs.
Yes.
And so I think if you're doing something that actually provides you with a lot of leverage, whether it's running ads instead of doing organic to add leverage to the top of your funnel, whether it's building intentionally designed content to pre-sell and nurture your leads to convert them in the middle of the funnel, or like building a bit of a sales team or an automated sales process at the bottom of the funnel to add leverage to that. Then also leverage on the back end with delivery.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people kind of just like hit their capacity on how many individual inputs they can do. Yes. And that keeps them stuck. But a lot of the time they don't even know that's exactly what is keeping them stuck.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with that too, I think the biggest thing is when people get capped on delivery, first thing they do is like, oh, I can't handle more leads. They shut off their ads. Maybe the setter is not as busy. Maybe the setter leaves, and then the closer, and then like that right there, I think in my opinion, can really screw up the business. Just not being 10 steps ahead with your delivery, because it all flows back around to the front end. And as soon as we've seen clients turn their ads off because they're capped on delivery, turn them back on. It takes months and months and months for them to really get back above water. And then at that point, chances are you probably hired a CSM, so you're paying $4,000 to $8,000 out a month consistently to him. You have no one new coming in, and the business just kind of starts to crumble down. So
I've done that so many times too. I've learned that the hard way so many times, man. Yeah, like when I was running my agency years ago, I'd sign a few clients, and then I'm like, oh my God, I got to deliver. Yeah. So I just like stop marketing, stop making content. And then when I was finally ready to take new clients on, then I'd start up again. And there's a principle called the 30-day rule, where on average it takes 30 to 90 days to see the results of a new marketing thing. And so by the time I was actually starting to make content and post again, I still wouldn't sign a client for 30 to 90 days out.
Yes.
Whereas if I just kept being consistent, then it would have been fine. And then I did that again.
Yeah.
And then same thing with ads. Like when I started, I scaled very quickly, straight out the gate. And then I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
I have no program,
Yeah.
all one-on-one. And it was like insane. And then so I'm like, okay, I pumped the brakes, turned my ads off, and then went from like 50 to 80K down to like 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, but I rebuilt everything, and then I launched them again, and then a month later, shot right back up.
Yeah.
And so I think if you can, the biggest thing to take away from this, I think, is like, do what you can to avoid like huge fluctuations.
Yeah.
And just that slow, consistent, steady growth is really important. Whereas if you like have a huge month and then you like absolutely tank, it takes a toll on your mindset. And we've worked with a lot of clients who have seen like a 4 or 5x in their business in like a month or two, and then like everything breaks.
Everything breaks, yeah.
And then they got to pump the brakes a little bit. But they're like, oh, I didn't hit another record month. I'm a failure now.
Yeah, I think that it definitely creates a huge mental game by having that volatility within the business. I guess the way that I look at it, and that goes for any department, whether that's sales, marketing, setting, CS, it's like what I'm implementing today, will this work at insert your goal, right? Like if you want to get to 500K a month, you're at 100K a month, or if you're at 10K a month, you want to get to 50K a month, is what I'm doing today still going to work and have the same output at 50K a month? And I think that having that mindset prevents, like, you're always one step ahead. And I think as a founder too, or any entrepreneur, you yourself have to be always ahead of the game. Like, you want to get to from 10 to 50K a month, you as a person have to become worthy of that and become that person. Like, what would I be doing if I was making 50K a month? What would my habits look like? How would I interact with people? How would I lead my team, right? And I think that's what stops most people, is like they do not become that person that they need to in order to make X amount of dollars, whatever that is.
So good. So good. So let's talk about ethical scaling and unethical scaling. Because one of the biggest things that I see in the space is, unfortunately, it's like the Wild West, where we have all these people that just like pop off and like scale really quickly, and then their client results are absolute dog shit.
Yep.
And then word spreads.
Easy.
It's a small space. And so what do you think most people get wrong? Or what do they do wrong?
Yeah, I think especially when just starting off, it's like, how can we get the most amount of, like, how big can the Stripe account get, right? So with that, you open the floodgates to people that might not be good fit for your program, might not be qualified for your program. And then the problem is like, you've created this vehicle for a very specific person to get from point A to point B. And what happens is a lot of those clients can't drive that vehicle. Like, it just doesn't make sense for them. And so you're basically selling them something that they don't need or won't work for them just to get the cash in the door. And then there's all these frustrated people, and then refunds start happening, right? So at the start, I think it's very important to get very clear on what the actual outcome or promise is that you're making on these sales calls, very, very specifically, because we've worked with a lot of clients and I have conversations. I'm like, okay, like, what does your program actually do? Well, it gets people better at this. Well, what does better look like very specifically? And then they don't know. It's like, okay, so how can you build a program if you don't know what you're optimizing for, what you're building for, right? And then same thing with the clients. You don't know who your ICP1 is if you don't know, number one, what the outcome is being achieved and how you're going to get them there. You can't pick the right person either. So
one of the biggest lessons that I learned is no client is better than a bad client.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And even after I learned that the first time, the second time, the third time, and the 10th time, it rings true every single time. Because yes, in the short term, you get a dopamine hit. When the money hits your account, you're like, oh, this is amazing. I'm the best. Just signed this new client and I'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
Later comes very soon.
Oh, yeah.
And then a week in, you're like, why on earth did I do that?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And then usually those people that aren't the best fits too, they take up most of your time. They ask the most like questions that are either like in the program or just like very like elementary level, and they're very costly to deliver the results for. Whereas on the other hand, it's like what you have to do is identify the clients that get the best results in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of your individual effort and input,
Yeah.
who just take action and crank out case studies. And you just rinse and repeat that. You're gonna have a well-oiled machine that just kind of feeds itself over and over and over. And what you said there about building a specific vehicle for a specific person is so important, because most people, they build this like either vague vehicle that's just like okay for everybody and like nobody gets great results,
Yes.
or they build something where it's like hyper specific for a certain type of person, but then they let anybody get in there, and then like you said, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think with that too, even like you can bring them on, the chances of them purchasing anything further are like pretty much none, like zero.
Yeah.
And so with that, it's like you may be losing money by turning those people away, but the correct clients, the ICP ones that you have in your program will make up for that through the back end revenue, whether that's ascension, continuation, renewal, MRR. So you can, like, that's the whole point, is you want to create, I think there's a whole nother part of it. You're creating a culture within your community. And with that, you want to have like-minded individuals, and those people do not fit the culture. So you can really not only like spend a bunch of time trying to help them and huge headache, but also too, you can really screw up the culture within your community. And it can expose like a lot of weak points. Like if they see a specific client asking all these questions without looking, or not being resourceful, or taking your time, or being able, you have to jump on all these one-on-one calls with them, then it kind of shifts the culture to that as well. I feel like a lot of other people that may be resourceful, maybe, taking the necessary steps to get from point A to point B without your help, or as much help, they see that and they're like, oh, well, if they're going to hold his hand, they can hold mine. And then that way I know everything I'm doing is correct and I can't fail. So I think it goes even beyond just like the headache of it. I think you can really mess up the community that you have as well too.
And we're in such an interesting niche because we work with entrepreneurs. And by default, entrepreneurs have to be resourceful, and they have to learn how to think for themselves, make their own decisions, and lead from the front. And so it's this interesting thing. And like I see this within myself when I hire mentors and join programs and stuff like that too. I'm trying to find that balance between like asking questions versus like, I also don't want to like pester them and waste their time, because I'm going to get more out of this if I go through the resources and learn it myself, rather than just kind of like leeching onto the nipple and not letting go. And so it's a very interesting balance there too, between like, holding someone's hand every step of the way versus teaching them how to walk on their own and going through there. And like, yes, you'll have to hold their hand at the start and get them up to speed. But then once the foundations are set, then it's kind of like, that's where you kind of have to let go and start to kind of mature and grow as well a little bit. And I think that stands true at every single level of the game too.
Definitely, yeah. Tony Robbins, I was watching one of his videos, and he says there's no unresourceful people, only unresourceful states. And so it's our job to put the clients into a resourceful state. And so I've been really thinking about that, like what that like actually look like. What does that actually look like? How do you put a client in in a resourceful state? And I think with that, it's like very simple. I might be overthinking it, but it's just like you said, like just don't hold their hand. And I think with that, it's like whether that's making them like waiting sometimes to answer their questions, because I've asked questions and then I'll go back 10 minutes later and I'm like, oh, I already know the answer. And another good thing that one of the previous offers that I worked on, we had this rule where anytime we'd submit a question about something, we'd have to send a Loom video of us talking about it for context. And on that Loom video, I didn't believe it until I actually did it. 90% of the time, you'll actually solve your problem just by talking about it and walking someone through what you're actually experiencing. And you're like, the amount of times that I've filmed a video and I'd cut it halfway through and be like, holy shit, I solved the problem, right? So I think it's just getting people in that resourceful state is the way for them to achieve the maximum level of success, just keeping them in that resourceful state. But I'm still deep diving into it because he's definitely got something deeper in there. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
That's so good though, because you're exactly right. It's like when you develop that level of self-mastery where you can create that emotional state within yourself to be resourceful, then that's where you take all of the power for yourself.
Easy, yeah.
Instead of giving it away to somebody and giving it away to something externally from you. That's when all of the most successful people really find their stride and absolutely explode. It's when you take the training wheels off, you grab the handles, put your feet on the pedals, and you just start going.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this is something that I've literally just came to the realization the other day. It's like you actually have more control of your success or just your life in general than you actually think. Like literally the only thing stopping you from getting what you want is just you. That's it. 99% of the time. There's a few cases people are going to be like, oh, what the heck is he talking about? But no, like if you actually dive into it, I truly believe that you are the only thing getting in the way of your success and whatever it is that you want. If it's, oh, well, I don't have enough skill, okay, well, that's on you to go and seek that knowledge, right? Whether that's reading, watching videos, getting mentorship, right? Whatever that looks like, I think it's 100% on you, and you are legitimately the only thing getting in the way of reaching whatever that goal looks like.
So good. And I think a lot of people take like, because one thing I hear like over and over and over from like seeing coaches and their content is like, oh, you have to hire mentors and like join programs and stuff like that. And like part of it's probably them like trying to brainwash you to then join their program.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like my biggest leaps in life and business in general have been when I go all in, burn my boats, and have no plan B. I put it all on the line. I say, all right, like it's on me. Like I'm betting all my chips, putting all my chips on the table, but it's on me to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the transformation happens at the transaction because you're telling yourself, I'm betting on myself because I feel like I'm worthy of that next level. And so I'm going to show the world that I actually mean what I say.
Yes. I like that a lot.
And so,
Transformation happens at the transaction. Solid.
I stole that 100% from somebody.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
I think with that though, like, once again, a lot of people after the sale, they lose that, what's the word? They don't feel like they're actually worthy of that transformation when they dive into it. Or some like stuff gets in the way and they lose focus and they lose sight of their original commitment to something. And I think that's something that, like me working with all the clients, like that's kind of the main, like some people would say like, oh, it's buyer's remorse. I don't necessarily want to say it's always buyer's remorse because it's not that they don't like the product. It's just that I think you put some people in a position to win and they're scared of it. Like they've never pictured themselves becoming this higher level person. And now that they actually have the opportunity to step in and own that, I think that creates a lot of fear for some people. I myself have never really experienced that, but I've worked with clients on multiple different offers where they're so close and they're in such a good position to win and they like self-sabotage and like back down.
So good. I got two things on that. One, it's all about the identity. They buy, you join something, and then it forces you to raise your standards.
Yeah.
But your identity doesn't match that.
Yes.
And so you fall back to your previous standards and nothing changes. But also there's this graph, this chart where it's like the 5 stages of change. And first stage is like uninformed optimism. where you are just like, you just made this purchase or like you did this thing and you're like super excited, but you're uninformed because you don't know what's actually required of you coming up. And so you're like super excited, you're riding this high, you're in the honeymoon phase, and then reality hits.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, I didn't think I had to do all of this.
Yes.
And then it goes down into informed pessimism.
Yes.
Where you're like, oh, I really didn't think I needed like to grow this much. And it's a grind because you have to change your habits, you have to change your thoughts, your beliefs, and everything in your life to go through it. But then eventually you kind of come out on the other side where that all of the change starts to then become normal. And then it becomes your new standard, your new habits, your new beliefs, and then you don't think anything of it. And then you start to see the rewards. And I can't remember like the exact names of like stage 3, 4, and 5, but finally you get to like success and fulfillment.
Yeah, okay.
Where like that's where you're like you have a high and then you have a really dark low.
Yeah.
And that's where most people quit because they can't handle all of the new pressure.
Yeah.
And they don't see the light on the other side of the tunnel. And then, but if you just keep hammering through that, then you will climb up and you'll get to where you want to get to.
Yeah, and I think social media really creates that. Like 100%, dude. Like,
Oh yeah.
you never see these people in your life, and then all you see is like a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid, millions of dollars, driving, quote unquote, driving the Lambo, doing this, doing that. But you don't see, once again, that they jumped in and then they were like, oh fuck, there's actually a lot of shit to do. And then they, like, you don't see them coming back up out of that.
Totally. Not at all. And like, even with me, it's like, oh yeah, I scaled like to 7 figures in like 7-8 months. But what you don't see is the 7 to 8 years before that.
Yes.
Where back in 2015, 2017, I started watching YouTube videos of guys making money online. I was like, that's gonna be me. And I started like studying marketing and learning stuff and all that kind of stuff, and just one foot in front of the other. For the first 5-6 years, I got literally 0 results.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think it was like year 5 is when I started my agency, and then got that to like 7 to 8K a month, absolute grind. And then I started working for my business coach as a closer, coach, media buyer. And then from there, got up to like 15 to 20K a month between that and the agency. And then did that for a full year, took them from 40K a month to 220 in like 6 or 7 months. And then left, started Summit after having like grew my own business to 6 figures and then worked with 250, 300 other coaches and agency owners, helping them sell tens of millions of dollars that way as well.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I already had the experience, but most importantly, the confidence because I had the...
Because you ate a lot of shit along the way too, probably.
So
That's what people
much.
don't see.
So much, yeah. And everybody has that dark season.
Yeah.
Everyone's got the lonely season where it's like, you're grinding so hard, you're working so hard, you're doing the inputs, but like, there's nothing to show for it.
No, yeah.
And it's gonna be different for everybody depending on like the quality and the quantity of inputs you're doing. That's how you can kind of manipulate the time frame a little bit. However, one of my favorite books is called Mastery by Robert Greene. And in that, he studies like the greats of history. So like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, stuff like that. And on average, it took them 8 to 10 years of dedication to become a master. First phase is apprenticeship, where you're just eating shit. You're just learning and you're like getting your feet under yourself. You're building the foundation. And then you go into creative active phase, which is phase 2, where you're like, okay, I feel like I know a little bit about this. I'm gonna start testing my own theories. I'm gonna see if this works. Oh, it doesn't. This is where you have some highs, but then you have like some big lows too.
Yeah.
And so the apprenticeship phase is kind of like this, and then it's like creative active is like it's rocky. And that's where most people give up.
Oh, 100%.
And quit. But then finally, year 8 to 10 is where you get through all that and you become the master. And so I think at the end of the day, most people just don't zoom out enough.
No, not at all.
And think long term. So when in doubt, zoom out.
Yeah, 100%. I think even for myself, I think it's hard. It's easier said than done, though. I think when you're so in there,
Oh yeah.
I've caught myself so many times, and I'm just like that season will pass, and then I'm actually able to zoom out, and I'm like, oh shit, like wasn't that big of a deal, or like that was so necessary. Like what was the I
Yeah.
took so much away from that situation. But when you're in it, it's like, oh fuck, like holy shit, maybe I'm not cut out for this.
100%, man. And that's the thing too. It's like I look back on like that season where it was like I finished college and then I was living in my parents' basement for a few years, grinding with literally nothing to show for it, reading a book a week, doing 75 hard. I put my phone, turned it off, put it in a drawer for 6 months. And I look back, I'm like, man, I kind of wish that like lasted longer because all I was doing every single day was just putting one more brick in my foundation. And if you think about like your potential and your success as a pyramid, the wider your foundation, the taller the pyramid.
Yeah.
And so many people are trying to skip steps. They're trying to build a tall pyramid, but it's skinny as hell and it'll just fall over, right? Like the math doesn't math.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people crumble really quickly because you can't beat experience and just time in the trenches.
I do like that. I like what you said though. You wish you would have put the phone in the drawer for longer, because it's like you had nothing and you were in a really shitty spot. And I think that's something I've seen with quite a few people, even myself sometimes, is like, and I saw it was what's his name, Chris Will's podcast, and he's like, sometimes it's actually better for your current situation to be shittier because it forces you to take action, right? And you were in that really shitty spot, and it forced you to like take out everything and take action.
Yeah.
And I've even caught myself like when I when I started in like the info product space, it was like shit was a mess. Like I had no idea what I was doing, and the founder that I was working for was like, he's looking at me and he's like, fucking, you need to figure it the fuck out. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like I just jumped in here. And so like that really, like going to bed every night, very frustrated, just created this huge catalyst for action to dive in fully hands-on. And now that I've like gotten to that level where I'm pretty confident in the information that I'm giving to people, I think sometimes like I'll catch myself and I'm like, what are you doing now? So you're slowing down a second, keep going. So yeah, I think that was a really cool point there. But I think and I had this talk with Matthias, if we committed 365 days straight, just one day at a time of 10 out of 10, like focus, action, right? Everything, like where would you be? Like legitimately full 365 days straight. Because like a lot of people, it's like they'll work super hard for 2 weeks and then maybe they come back down to like baseline and then they'll go down maybe even below. They took a vacation for a month and it's like slow to get back in. Like imagine 365 days straight of peak performance, how crazy your business could be. Like it could, I think sometimes too, we can't even envision what the next steps could be like, right? We're just looking around, seeing what other people have been able to achieve, but what if it's something actually even greater than that? We just can't envision it.
Now times that by 30 for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When you nail the inputs consistently on a daily basis, day in, day out, especially when you don't feel like it, success becomes inevitable. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. I think it's detaching the emotions from what you're doing and just like you have to do this regardless of how you feel. And I think with that too, you don't let your emotions dictate your actions, you let your actions dictate your emotions.
Yeah, that's good. And I think with that too, like there's a very powerful realization I had like when I was in my parents' basement, like grinding it out, that I didn't have to do it. I got to, and I chose to. And so when you view it not so much as an obligation, but as a choice, then it actually gives you a lot of power. And it kind of switches the frame a little bit because it's like, oh, it's a grind. I have to do this. And like, oh, I have to work out tomorrow, or I have to read this book. It's like the language that you're using, you're telling yourself in your subconscious mind that like, I don't like doing this.
Mm.
And it's like not good. So as a result, it's going to be short-lived. But instead, if you flip the switch a little bit and you say, or flip the script and you say, I get to do this and I choose to do this, because every little micro decision isn't, should I go to the gym right now or should I not? Should I eat the shitty food or should I eat healthy food? You're not choosing between the food. You're choosing between your true potential and the life that you want to create for yourself, like heaven on earth or hell.
Mm.
And another phenomenal book, The Slight Edge, basically says like, it's not like the micro decisions, they don't matter in the short term.
Yeah.
But when you like have like an axis here, it's like the good ones, they compound very slowly and then all at once.
Mm.
But the same with the bad. It's like you eat shitty food and then all of a sudden, like you don't really see much. And then all of a sudden, a few months in, a few years of doing that,
Yes.
you absolutely tank. And so if you have an idea of like, do I want to create heaven on earth or hell on earth for myself? And then in the micro decisions, like, I'm grateful that I get to choose the future that I'm going to have.
Mm.
It completely flips everything.
I like that, yeah. I think even just you have to have the conviction in what you're doing, of just like, what I'm doing right now might not seem like a big deal or seem like a needle mover, but down the line it's gonna add into something.
Totally. Yeah.
I think that's a huge part of it too. It's just like actually, because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I know what I'm like." You get on a call with them, and oh, I know I'm eating shit right now, and it'll work out in the future. But they don't actually believe that. Like you actually have to believe that, because then the quality of the input that you're doing is so subpar. To whereas like if you knew, like think about it like this: if you knew that if you completed this one thing, you could have this, like how intentional would you be when completing that, versus like in your head you're like, I think this might lead to this, right? And you're like kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So I think it's having conviction in every single thing that you do, knowing that it's actually building to something greater.
That's so good. And with that too, it's like you're not going to know what the next step is. Like 3-4 years ago, I had no idea that I'd be running a coaching business.
Yeah.
I was trying to do an agency. And like before that, I tried, like, me and my buddy were going to, this was back in 2017, I think, 2018 maybe. Like we almost started a Amazon FBA store. And then before that, it was like e-com and drop ship. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, it's like, but you're exactly right. The conviction comes and like, no matter what happens, I'm going to figure it out. The steps along the way are going to look a little bit different, because like most of the time we can't even see the one right in front of us.
Yeah.
And like that fog is just so thick.
Definitely.
And that you're just kind of like bouncing and hopping between each step. And I think you just have to have that conviction that like, no matter what, as long as I'm doing the inputs that I know true to my core are the right things I need to do, it's going to work out. And I'm going to figure it out. And I think in order to actually know, okay, well, am I doing the right things? It's like there's never going to be a time where investing into yourself and growing your skill set and your experience is going to be a bad thing. And so if you just kind of ask yourself, okay, if I audit my day, are the things that are on my calendar that I do good for my growth, or are they taken away from my growth? Do they help me get better, smarter, fitter, stronger, faster, richer, or do they take away from that and steal that? And that's a really good measure, because the most successful people I know are the ones that have devoted the most amount of time into personal development.
Agreed.
Regardless of the avenue that they take and the vehicle that they're in. They're masters of themselves, and their minds, and their skills, and then everything else falls into place.
I like that. How do you find the balance between, like, let's say you jump on board with a mentor, right? Or you have someone in your life that is like kind of providing guidance for you. how do you find the balance between listening to what they say because they're a couple steps ahead of you or they've been down that avenue, and trusting what you say or you think?
That's good. That's good. Because yeah, I've been there too. And it depends. Like if they have the exact life that you want to live, listen to them. But also listen to your intuition, because your intuition is going to throw up some red flags. Be like, ooh, something feels off. Now, I think just through experience, you have to eat shit and make the wrong decisions and get negative feedback to then self-correct and course correct a little bit. But you're going to learn how to distinguish between, is this the wrong thing to do or is it just uncomfortable? And I think like if you develop a good relationship with that person, then you should be able to kind of just like express that too. So, hey, here's kind of where I'm feeling. Like, I totally understand the advice. I just want to clarify a couple things quick, because something maybe I'm misunderstanding, or maybe I'm not seeing the full picture. Can I just kind of think out loud, and then you tell me if I'm right or wrong? And then that will kind of help give you a little bit of guidance there. But ultimately, like, yeah, don't take advice from somebody you don't want to look like. Don't take advice from somebody that you don't want your bank account to look like, or like your relationship. And so I think you can draw from different people for different things. So for example, in the book Think and Grow Rich, it talks about the concept of a mastermind and surrounding yourself with other people who are better than you in certain aspects, and having like a board of directors around you. So then whether it's like physical human beings or like virtual mentors through books, through videos, courses, like whatever that looks like, that doesn't matter. In your mind, you can have this like virtual boardroom table of you and your board of advisors, and you're like, okay, this guy who, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example, like if I have like a fitness thing, he's like, okay, well, what would he advise me to do for fitness specifically? Okay, I'll listen to that. There might be a guy who's rich as hell, but out of shape. I'll listen to him for business advice, but not for fitness.
That makes sense.
And so you want to kind of pick and pull from different people and kind of build and nurture this board of directors for your life. And it's going to be different for everybody too.
Yeah. I like that. I think like the way that I approach it is, I've always found myself looking, because I think we're all guilty of it, like looking to other people for like clarification of what we're feeling, right, or thinking. But what I found is like when I finally tuned all that out, like that's when the decision became very apparently clear. So I think sometimes it can actually hurt more than it can help. But I think with that too, what I've noticed is like when you make a decision and it doesn't go the way that you expected, if you 100% made that choice on your own, you're just like, fuck, okay, like kind of move past it. As soon as there's someone else in the picture, you actually hold on to it longer because you're blaming someone else. And then first you blame them, and then you blame you because you listened to them. So it actually takes longer to just forget about it and move forward, right?
So good.
So, yeah, I think really just fully owning your decisions is so big.
Yeah. And that's a really good point too, because there's a lot of nuance to that, like blindly following someone's advice versus taking their advice as advice, not as like a core conviction principle.
Yeah.
And then, like you can collect different advice from different people, but then ultimately you're the CEO of your life, and you have to make the decision that you know deep down in your core is the right one for you. And I know a lot of the time I've ignored that, and then it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit well, and you're just like, deep down you know.
Yeah.
Deep down you know. And so what was really cool is when we were in Miami a few weeks ago at our client retreat, I had a bunch of people like kind of the last night after the yacht kind of just like pull me aside. I got my fucking captain's hat on top of the other hat. It was pretty funny. And like some of them were asking some very like life-changing, they're asking for some very life-changing advice for like massive decisions in their life that are going to change the trajectory of where they're at. And that puts like a lot of pressure on me. But what takes that off and what takes that away is like, I don't know the right answer for you, but I can ask questions to kind of help you find the right answer for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, I love that. I think people hearing themselves talk like solves it. And I've had that so many times, even with like clients I've worked with. They're like, oh, da 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 da, this and that. Like barbers, for example. I don't know what to do. I have all these guys in my shop. They're not listening to me. Should I fire them? Should I let them go? Dude, like I don't know. Like I could lose a lot of money. Like da 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 da. It's like, okay, like let's break this down, right? And then we break it down step by step by step, just asking questions, not even giving any feedback. And then I'm like, all right, so like knowing what you know now, what would you advise someone else in your shoes to do? And they're like, oh, I would tell them to do this. And I'm like, okay, well, there's your answer. Solved. You just walked yourself through it. I think people just need to unpack sometimes. And even whether that's through talking to someone else or just writing it down. When you write down what's on your mind, it gives you full clarity of what you're actually thinking about. And I think a lot of times it's not that big of a deal. Like it's not as big of a deal when you get it down on paper.
So good. And one of my favorite things to do is just go to a coffee shop and whip out the journal. Block out an hour or two and just start writing. And usually, like if you look at, well, nobody looks at my journals except for me, but if you were, it would literally just be like the first like half a page to page is just like complete nonsense. It's just like, today I did this. I hit the gym this morning with my buddy Nolan, and it sucked, right? And then I kind of just like, it's basically just like a flowing stream of consciousness that you're just writing down, and then I kind of like okay, this is on my mind. This is something that doesn't feel good. Like, here's why I think it is, and then a really good question to ask yourself is like, think about the version of yourself that's like 10 out of 10 on every aspect of life. Health, wealth, love, relationships, 10 out of 10, just firing on all cylinders. What would that person do in your shoes? And then act as if you're already that person and make your decisions from that frame. And so that's kind of what I guided one of those people through. I'm like, okay, if you were this 10 out of 10, like we'll just say, like, I'll call him John. If you were like, what would 10 out of 10 John do in your shoes? Then he'd be like, oh, well, he would probably just be like, well, stop being a little bitch and just do the thing you know you need to do. And I'm like, okay.
Great combo.
There you go.
See you on the other side.
Yeah. And so you got to be careful too, because like, I think sometimes you can get advice from people who like maybe have different intentions. And so you got to use your wisdom and try to make sure that they actually do want the best for you, and they're not trying to push their agenda on you as well.
Yeah, especially when you're vulnerable like that too. Like when you're rock bottom trying to figure shit out, like you're trying to grasp on anything. So if someone puts something in front of you, you're grabbing it 100%. So yeah, I think that's what goes back to like just making fully convicted decisions on your own, and what like you're not only committed to the decision, but you're also committed to the outcome, whether that's good or bad. It's like, and if this does not work out, I'm committed to taking the next step to get back on track and not just sitting in that.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, and I love what you said earlier about like being comfortably numb, like from that Chris Williamson podcast, where it's like if your circumstances are just like they suck, but like they don't suck so bad that you do something about it, then you'll just stay comfortably numb to it and just stay in that pain forever until it gets really bad, where the pain of staying stuck outweighs the pain of discomfort and growth. Yeah. And that's where the change happens. This has been very good. Very, very good. Let's get tactical. Let's get tactical here. Somebody listening that wants to maybe they're stuck at 10 to 20 to 30K a month. They're probably a one-man show, maybe have a setter, probably doing organic, trying to just post and pray, try to go viral and get leads that are like pretty dog shit, to say it lightly, because their organic marketing coach told them to. What advice would you tell somebody who's in that scenario? Because every single one of our clients that we work with basically fit that description. And funny enough, this morning I was at the gym with a buddy who's in town. He's the captain of a D1 football team down in Washington. And we were talking, and like we've had a few workouts over the last kind of 3 to 6 months, and he started an online fitness offer, and like he's crushing it. He said today, told me he did like 25K so far over the last couple of months. And I'm like, that's so sick. But what he told me is he joined a program for organic marketing. And he's like, dude, it was horrible. They promised me the world. They even had a guarantee that they literally said, we'll guarantee you'll double your business and your views in 30 days.
Maybe your views, not your business.
That never happened. Neither of them happened.
Yeah, I don't need.
And then they still charge them after that as well. He's like, dude, I should have just listened to you and just raised my ad spend.
Yeah.
But that's like a story as old as time, that like either people listening to the wrong advice or they're listening to advice that they think is right because they just don't know any better. But for somebody that's kind of stuck right there, how can they break out of that plateau and see explosive growth?
Through ads, very simply. And I think to break it down, it's a business in itself. You're paying to play. That's all it is, right? And so you have like the free trial, the light version of it, right, which is organic, and then you have ads, which is like full paid. You get all inclusive access, right? So you need to take the step, and it's like people I see launch 1 ad, 2 ad, 3 ad, and they don't perform. It's like, bro, you had no problem posting 100 pieces of content and not one of them did good. So what's your issue? Keep running ads, like keep making more. And as long as you're on top of it with like you have tight feedback loop with 5 to 7 days, let it test. If it's not doing well, shut it off. Like boom, next one, right? I see a lot of people test one and then they slow down and they're like, this doesn't work for me. Well, yeah, neither was organic. You posted how many posts? 400? Oh, okay. 2 clients? Oh, okay. Stop bitching about the ads.
So good, man. Yeah. That's exactly what I told him this morning too. Where I was like, he's like, yeah, no, I ran 1 ad and it did really well. I got a bunch of clients from it, but then I kind of fatigued. And then, so that's why I got that organic course, because I was like, and then I'm like, dude, what if you treated your ads like your organic content?
Yeah.
And what if you made 1 ad a day? He's like, whoa. And yeah, I think it's like, it's important that people have the right expectation when it comes to ads too, because yes, it can absolutely blow up your business. Like one of our clients, Adrian, he was a fitness coach. He was stuck at 20K a month for 5 years doing organic, because that's what his coaches kept telling him to do. And he was just spinning his tires, a slave to the algorithm, and he hated it. Joined the program in like 2 to 4 months, went from 20 to 80K a month with 1 ad.
Yeah.
1 ad and then 1 setter. And just saw like explosive growth. And so I think it all kind of circles back though to what we were talking about earlier, which is leverage. All ads are is just a form of leverage.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're paying to play. Most people pay with their time because they don't value their time. But when you understand, like, you want to use your money to buy back your time so you can do higher leverage things to then make you more money. And so most people just aren't willing to bet on themselves and make that investment into themselves by spending money on ads, paying to play, putting their money where their mouth is, and actually doing whatever it takes to make it work. But there's like the story of that client, Adrian, who 20 to 80K a month with 1 ad. Tom went from 0 to 100K a month with 1 ad. But then there's also other clients that, like Ben, for example, tested 30 and then found 1 and then absolutely been crushing it, cranking.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but then again, it's like, okay, if you give yourself 30 swings of the bat to hit the ball, it's like you're probably going to hit it once, even if you suck at baseball.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
And especially if you take feedback from each one and then you learn from it and be like, okay, you know what? I think I probably could have used a better hook or said it a little bit differently. Or maybe try walking around as you're talking instead of just like boring, flatline, monotone, sitting at your desk with a boring background and you just look like everybody else.
Yeah. I think that's a big piece to it, is like people run ads on a very low skill set of like their knowledge, very lack of knowledge of running ads, like all the way from scripting to filming to editing to actually having like a proper funnel in place. I think a lot of people just throw ads out there and then like maybe let's say they do a follower ad and then they have zero organic content, just like nothing on their page. Well, you're telling people to follow you, but then they click on your page and it's nothing.
Yeah.
What are you expecting? So I think with that, like seeking the knowledge and understanding of the whole idea of ads and like the point of it and how it works, because a lot of people launch and then they immediately, oh, well, ads aren't for me, they don't work for me. Well, it's like, no, did you look and exhaust every option? Did you check the script? Did you check your editing? Did you check this? Did you check that? Does it make sense, right? Like sometimes I think you have to shift yourself to the buyer's perspective and think, would I go down this person's funnel? Would I follow you and then go to your page? And then if I look through your content, would I stay engaged or would I just click off? Like you got to shift yourself out a little bit. Send it to a friend. Be like, hey, start here, work your way through. Let me know what you think, right?
So good. Yeah, because ads look very easy on the surface, but when you start running them, it's scary because you're spending your own money.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing a return. A really good frame that I had when I first started spending my own money, because I've spent tons of other people's money on ads before, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But once my card was getting charged, I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
It was like $20 a day, stung like a motherfucker. And what I did is like, I had to beat it out of me. I had to beat that fear out of myself. So I changed my billing threshold to my daily ad spend. So my card would get charged every day and I get a notification every single day, kind of like exposure therapy.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, okay, now it's like, boom, $1,000. I'm like, whatever, like another day in the office, right? But also with that too, the frame of mind that I had was, I'm spending this money right now. I'm not trying to get it back today, tomorrow, next week, next month. I'm taking the bet on myself that it'll probably, most likely, hopefully, maybe one day come back to me 6 to 12 months from now. And so every dollar I spend on ads today, I'm investing in 6 to 12 months out, Jeremy. Yeah. It's going to come way sooner because the average sales cycle is about a month, give or take. Some way shorter, some way longer. But if you give yourself like 30 to 90 days and then some wiggle room on the back end too, just to kind of go to the extreme, then that helps so much. And then sure enough, it came back.
Yeah. And I think with that too, it's like, I'm probably scratching the mic. I think with that too, with organic, let's say you put a setter on your offer. What's he going to be doing all day?
Talking to broke, unqualified leads.
Outbound, cold outbound. Yeah. Hey man, then you're just sitting in the message request box for 4 months. Hey brother, sorry, just seeing this, not interested. Oh, okay.
Yeah, hey, bro, just bumping this up.
Yeah, so with ads, you're literally paying to bring people in to your business or into your funnel, and it allows you to actually track the, most of the time, proper audience, right? You're paying to find the right people. Whereas organic, it's like you could get 1 million views. Doesn't mean people have to be interested. Totally. I scroll on Instagram all day long. I don't like half the shit. And the amount of like organic people trying to sell me shit that I see, and I'm like, nice. So that's a view though, right? So then 1 million people view through that. Oh, I should be seeing some sales soon. Like no one's interested in what you're selling because it's going to the wrong people.
Yeah, that's so good too. And again, that's why ads are so powerful, especially when it comes to leverage, because you make one ad one time and you, like when you make it the right way and you be very intentional with who you're speaking to and how you're speaking to them, then you're only attracting the people you actually really want.
Yeah.
That are going to be high ticket buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than casting a super wide net. It's like a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
It's like extremely accurate. Yeah, there's gonna be tons of leads that aren't qualified, and I don't know why creatures from the depths of the internet fucking click on my ads and follow me. I don't know why, but that's always gonna be the case. But I don't think about them. I think about the ones that are good.
Yeah.
And it just like it makes life so much easier because you're just automating your entire lead gen process. And you plug in a setter, basically automate that. So then you're just getting calls booked on your calendar.
Yeah.
And then you hire a closer, and then it's like, yeah, like last week when I was in Mexico with my family, my dad asked, he's like, hey, so like while we're away, like, are like still bringing clients? I'm like fully removed from the sales process.
Yeah.
So, yeah. He's like, wow,
Nice.
that's pretty sweet. And so, yeah. But then again, it's like that doesn't happen quick.
No, not at all.
Like I think like 3 months in, after I hit like 50K-ish, I hired a setter. I think like first month-ish, first 5 weeks is like 50. And then I kind of like dropped down to like 10 to 20, hired a setter at 20 after I like actually built 1.0 version of my program. And then from there, like 2-3 months later, month 5, we did 80. And then I had to rebuild the program again, drop down a little bit. I think like I turned my ads off again. And then I think I dropped down to like 20K a month. And then 2 months later, or the next month I did 100 and then 200. And it was so like, it was a lot of work because it was just me and a setter. And I had a video editor. It was like 30 reels a month and like some YouTube videos for like $300 a month.
Yeah, not that guy.
Timmy ain't cheap. But he was like overseas, young kid, first client ever.
Sick.
And yeah, so anyways, I was like, sure, why not? And yeah, but anyways, so like I was doing all the content, the ads, the media buying, the tracking, the sales calls, the coaching, like literally everything until I kind of got to 7 figures. Then finally I hired a CSM and I was still doing my sales calls. And then I didn't really know what I was doing hiring a CSM. So like that didn't work out amazing. But then the second one was awesome. The third one, awesome. And yeah, then hired a few sales reps as well to kind of get myself out of the sales calls. And then, but that wasn't for like at least a year in. And so I think a lot of people like have an unrealistic expectation of how quickly things should work. And again, this was after all of the experience that I had. But I was like, I'm willing to just work as long as I need to every day to just get to where I want to get to, then I'll figure it out later.
Where do you think you find the balance between bringing higher level people into your business to help you run it, right? So you can scale faster and also still learning on your own, right? So not building too big of a team where you have too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think it's very easy to get too bloated. And what a lot of people don't see is how fast the margins can drop as you scale and bring on new people. And you're like, oh, but I'm scaling. And just like keep hiring and like ad spend goes up. And then it's all of a sudden you're doing like 20% margins. And you're like,
yeah,
I could make this in my sleep as a one-man show working half as much. And you start to question everything.
Yeah, the P goes up and so does the L.
Yeah. And so you got to do it very like I think most people shouldn't be in a rush to hire too quickly, because like you said, it's like I'm so glad that I stayed in the trenches for a long time, and I wish I stayed in there longer so I could really master every single aspect.
I'll take a month off, bro. You can. I'll send you all my one-on-one calls.
And again, there's seasons. But anyways, like then when I'm able to master each part of the business, then I'm able to know what to look for when I'm hiring.
Yeah, I think that's super important.
So know who's going to be a good fit for the role based on what character traits and qualities they need to have. But then also knowing what good KPIs are and what they look like, and then also how to like hold people accountable to that, and troubleshoot if they're not hitting them.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't have any experience doing the thing at all, then you're like kind of just like
Sifting through.
flying blind.
Yeah. 100%.
So I think ultimately what success really comes down to is how long you're willing to stay in the trenches. Because most people are trying to get out of there because it's uncomfortable. They're trying to get out too quickly. It's like one of my buddies used to say this. He's like, most people are looking for a way out. I'm looking for a way in.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And I think that's really what separates most people from the ones that actually win.
Great way to end it.
Brother.
Awesome chat, dude.
Amazing. That's a wrap for the video. Let us know your number one takeaway down in the comments. And if you are ready to scale your coaching business, book a call down below. We would love to help you. We'll be working very closely with both Dawson and myself. And if you want some more proof, check out our client case studies, client success stories playlist. We've got over 50 YouTube interviews with clients who have absolutely crushed it. I've got 2 more coming up this week and 2 more scheduled to launch as well over the next week or 2. And so, yeah, if you're ready to take that leap, add leverage to your business, and actually scale, book call down below. Love to help, and we'll see you soon.